What is going on, everyone? Tim from Tirfon Orbital. I would like to go over and install commission that I completed a couple of days ago on a Wade Sabers Master Sentinel. And this particular Master Sentinel has been modified by CCsabers. And this thing is gnarly looking, right? So this is the first time that I've had a Master Sentinel come across my desk from, it's the first time I've had anything from Wade Sabers come across my desk. However, I've seen this particular hilt, not this one, but I've seen the Master Sentinel, in the forums. It's one of those hilts that is ripe for modifications. I just recently did a KR Flagship, same deal. The Subversion from Ignition Saber Company. Like, these hilts are great hilts alone, like they're great hilts on their own, but they are perfect for etching and perfect for body modifications. And this hilt, what CCsabers did to this hilt, it's rad. This thing is just, this thing is up my alley. Like, this is my kind of vibe when it comes to hilts. So it was a pleasure to not only handle this hilt, but design a chassis for it. So really, really happy with the result, right? So without further ado, we're not going to waste any time. Let's come into Fusion and talk about the chassis design process. I did approach this a little bit differently in that I did a removable chassis. It's shorter than what I usually do, but let's talk about it. Let's come into Fusion, right? Okay, so here is the chassis. It is two parts, right? So the upper switch assembly and PCB holder is where I've got my male end of my 6-rail PCB. I've also got two tactile switches in this switch section. To my surprise, this only took one test print. So typically when we've got staggered switches like this, they're really hard to design for. So the way that not cheat, but the way that I do this is, right, so I'll print a regular, just straight tube, okay? I'll put it in the chassis where it needs to stay, okay? And then I will take out the switch plungers. I will mark where these holes need to be, measure them, and then put them in the final design. That's how I do that, right? So this only took one test print rather. And then I got the switch locations nailed, right? So up top here, we've got our PCB emitter, okay? 2 tactile button switches. And that's it, right? So this lives in the upper section of the hilt. I threaded an M3 set screw to help secure this entire assembly in place, and that is hidden underneath the shroud. The main chassis is a stacked battery and board setup, okay? So we've got room for a 28mm speaker in this particular build. So 28mm speaker down here. I do have a kill switch that lives just underneath the board here. I have also put, at the request of the client, I've put some onboard NeoPixels in this one. So there's a 2020 NeoPixel strip that goes underneath this vent greebly here. Just did some light tube work on both sides. Put some crazy circular greeblies on this side. A lot of tube work going on this one. I'm enjoying doing this tube work in Shaper. Proffie board sits here, slides up underneath this lip. Up top, we've got our 6-rail PCB. This is how we make a connection to the upper part of the hilt, and that's how we make the chassis removable. And that's it. Nice and quick, nice and simple. Love the way that this chassis came out. I love the way that this hilt sounds with this 28mm speaker. So let's come up top and actually talk about the chassis and do a demo. Let's come up top. Okay, here it is. Master Sentinel from Wade Sabers, modified by CCsabers. This thing is rad. I really, really like this hilt a lot. I like the look of it. It's got this, I can't describe it. It's got this like industrial look, like with these red bars. This thing is rad. It's a really, really good looking hilt, man. So we've got some steel baffling here in the grip. It's just a really, really nice looking hilt. It's a very, very fantastically machined hilt as well. It's just a really, really well-made hilt, okay? So this upper shroud This will come off. There are 2 set screws back here. There are 2 screws that hold the shroud in place. So I removed my switch plungers. Really, really nice switch plungers too, by the way. So I removed this upper shroud. There is a set screw underneath here that holds that inner PCB holder in place, right? Just a really, really nice hilt. Here is the chassis. Short chassis, okay? Proffie board is back here. Here's the battery tray, 28mm speaker, 6-rail PCB. This is from Stardust Sabers. Speakers from Smugglers Outpost. So to use your hilt, to use the chassis, spring side is your negative. Put your battery in, negative side towards the speaker. Hit that kill switch. So to the client, for your config, this is set up with sub blades. So technically in your config, you've got 4 blades, okay? 1 for the main and 3 for this accent strip. Upper and lower neopixels are their own blades, and the center is its own animation as well. So once you get your battery in, the pommel unscrews. So you want to unthread that pommel. Slide your chassis in until it stops. Thread that pommel back in until that stops. And you're good to go. Man, is this a loud hilt. Wow. All right, let's come down to the bottom. Yeah, this is a good sounding hilt. So,
I am no Jedi.
Button-wise, this center button, I guess it's center, however you're looking at the hilt. This is your aux. Side button is your main. This thing is loud. One more. Before we put a blade in it.
Crystal focus.
Right. Let's put a blade in it. Okay, so this is a 1-inch blade holder. Pretty tight blade holder. So you want to put your blade in so it's resting on those PCB pins. There are also, I appreciate this as well, there's 2 set screws. So you can really bite down on that blade if you need to. But it is a really, really secure blade holder. And then you're ready to go. One more. Loud hilt. All right. Really, really good sounding hilt. So to the client, on your config, I've just set this up with a basic stock config with stock blade styles. The fonts that are on here are the free ones that are offered throughout the community. So we've just got a regular config on here, and I will also back that config up to your SD card before I ship this out, right? This is an absolutely beautiful hilt. Fantastic hilt. Huge fan of the way NG Sabers modified this. Big fan of the machining and construction as well from Wade Sabers. So this was a lot of fun to install and design on. So that's all I've got. To the client, thank you very much for trusting me with your install. If anyone has any questions about this particular chassis or this particular hilt, please do not be a stranger. And with that being said, may the force be with you always. Thanks for watching, everybody.